Hello and welcome back to this Damn Idealistic Crusade. This is a very short video of just some Kino Lorber titles I picked up. Of course, I was primarily trying to get the new 4K release of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, the international cut that Kino put out. And of course, ordering directly from their site, you usually get discs and titles either day of release or sometimes a day or two before, a little bit early. And also, I wanted to make sure to try and get a slipcover before they might have sold out, which of course they did very quickly. So I added in some titles from the going out of print sale, which they're still updating. So titles are disappearing from that sale every day, and they're adding new titles. And apparently, they just added another new batch as soon as I did this order. So it's definitely wise to continually check back on their going out of print sale because, of course, it is being regularly updated. And since their catalog is so vast, there's no telling what might turn up there next. And then once it's gone, it's obviously gone. So again, it's a mixture of titles I added to try and get that free shipping threshold because again, I was primarily going after the new release of GBU. So I used that as a perfect excuse to chip away at a few. This one I had totally forgotten about and had been really wanting to check out because, again, it is from a brand new 4K restoration and leaps and bounds over the just really crummy looking version that popped up on DVD once before. And it's surprising because this film is very important historically for its technical aspects. So you would think that it would be better treated and have better releases, but it does not. So this is the Ruben Mamoulian directed picture from 1935, Becky Sharp. This is important for being the first three-strip Technicolor film and is lauded on its release and thought of very highly for its, Technicolor three-strip photography, but really had not good releases on home video, very few actually. So this is a wonderful new 4K scan. It's credited from negative and positive separations, so they would have also scanned the Technicolor separations. So I get this to focus a little bit. But this is now in their going out of print sale, and it is a restoration from the UCLA Film and Television Archive with funding from the Film Foundation. It's also involved Paramount because I believe they own the rights now. It does add an audio commentary, and it does have some trailers for other Kino titles. So this would be one that I definitely would say go ahead and grab this if you're at all a fan of three-strip Technicolor or classic Hollywood, or you're just a camera geek and you're a geek for cinematography because it is that important. And unfortunately, it's in their going out of print sale, so chances are this will disappear pretty quickly. So definitely get it before it is gone. So this one was not in the going out of print sale, but I was trying to hit that $50 free shipping minimum. I had just revisited this on the Laserdisc edition, hadn't seen it in years, and actually I don't know if I'd ever seen the entire serial. I think I'd seen a few chapters before. But since this is really going hand in hand with Daredevils of the Red Circle from the same directing team, which I just picked up in my last batch of Kino disc, which also was from a 4K scan, I had to have this. I am dying to see what these look like, and they have commentaries on them. And this is just absolute magic. It's considered one of the greatest serials of all time with good reason, and it absolutely is. This belongs in every movie collection, and that, of course, is 1941's Adventures of Captain Marvel from Republic, from a brand new 4K scan. Again, goes hand in hand with the release of Daredevils of the Red Circle, which is another of the all-time great serials, again, from the same directing team at Republic. This was, of course, the first live-action adaptation of a comic book character. It is absolutely majestic. It is, again, one of the best serials ever made, one of the best comic book adaptations ever made, even though they do take some liberties and have to get it into a 12-chapter serial in the Republic style. It is absolute magic. The effects are still amazing to look at considering the budgets and the technology they had to work with. And again, it is one of the best cliffhanger serials ever made. It has not lost one iota of its magic. And what's also really nice about this release, which again is very atypical for Kino releases, because again, they usually set the disc inside. There is a full-on booklet with essay and nice images in here, which again was really nice and surprising. So it's basically giving you a little bit of background about not just Captain Marvel, but Republic and their serial production. You also get original posters advertising the 12 chapters. So this was an absolute must. I wasn't going to wait for it to pop up in the going out of print sale, and I was so desperate to look at the 4K transfers since I really enjoyed looking at it on LD, but of course those are unrestored transfers. And again, these these serial releases have commentaries from just a wealth of some of the great historians and some of the great talents. I mean, it's got some of the top people doing the commentaries. So you have Jerry Beck, you've got Leonard Maltin, Constantine Nasser, but the big one for me, if this person's name is on a release, I immediately want it. Even if it's a film I don't care for at all, but Tom Weaver does some of the commentary on Adventures of Captain Marvel, and if you've ever heard any of his commentary tracks or read any of his reference works, I mean, he is always first rate, and I think his commentary tracks are just always absolute gold. So that was further enticement. So I can't wait to dig into this, and I'll probably wind up watching the whole serial all over again. Next up, from the going out of print sale, is the 1949 Western Four Faces West with Joel McCrea, who is one of the great underrated American star actors and one of the great underrated Western icons. I adore him in anything, and Kino has done a number of Joel McCrea starring titles. This is just one of them that I chipped away from. And it also co-stars Frances D, who actually became Mrs. Joel McCrea, and I believe this is the only picture they made together. I have not gotten to see this yet, so this would be a first-time watch for me, so I'm really excited. I've read the reviews, and the transfer is supposed to be really nice for a black and white Western. And then, of course, to round everything out, the reason I made this purchase in the first place is the 4K Blu-ray release of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. This being the new 2021 version that actually faithfully reproduces the 1967 international release version, the actual theatrical cut, as it was in all international territories as released by United Artists. So I have done a full-on major review of this disc, which you can see in another video. So of course I will spare you my babblings in this video, but I'll just go over this briefly. This is the lovely slipcover that unfortunately has already sold out, and a lot of people are really disappointed that they've missed out on this. So as always with slipcover releases, you want to try and order it early to try and guarantee that you can get one. Here is the art on the actual black UHD case, traditional Kino style rear. This does port over most of the extras from the 2017 release. It doesn't have the commentaries from what was on the extended English language version of the film, so it doesn't have the Richard Schickel or Sir Christopher Frayling commentaries. It does carry over the excellent Tim Lucas commentary from the 2017 disc. It does fix the frame rate issues on most of the legacy extras on that release, so that does address that issue. Unfortunately, they didn't fix it for the trailers that are included on here, but they did for all the old MGM extras, which is nice because they were pretty much unwatchable on the 2017 disc. Here is inside the case with the traditional Kino Lorber disc labels, and of course you get the 4K UHD disc on the other. Now again, this is the international release version. It is the 161-minute original release version of the film that we all saw in the US and everybody else saw in international territories. It does not carry any version of the longer version of the film. So it does not have the 2003 MGM-produced extended English language version of the film, which is actually MGM's edit. It is not a director's cut, nor is it the Italian release version. What this release does do is it takes those scenes that were originally in the Italian release version and it presents them separately. Unfortunately, it's only on the 4K disc. It is not on the Blu-ray disc. But if you really love those scenes, you do have the option to be able to watch them separate from the film on the UHD disc. And that's basically how we all first saw them back in 1998 when MGM first presented them to US audiences on home video, just tacked on the end of the 1998 Laserdisc or as a separate extra on the 1998 DVD. So it's sort of coming full circle in that regard because it's just like the way we all first saw them. So it is important to note this is the 161-minute version of the film, but it is properly 100% conformed to the international release version. It even uses some original IB Tech dye transfer frames in places and shots to make sure it is fully accurate. Kino has performed extensive color correction to try and fix the massive color problems that were in the source master from the imagined Richard-Vada. And it's been this Richard-Vada master that we've been stuck with ever since. The old 2017 Blu-ray made an attempt, Kino's first go around, they made an attempt to combat the awful yellow tinting, but it really also caused problems of its own. So this is really sort of it's really a second go round, and here they did it right, and it really helps to wash away the bitter taste of the old 2017 disc in terms of what that didn't get right. All that is resolved here. It's not 100% perfect, of course, because of course the base master it's having to use has a lot of that stuff baked in. But Kino went the extra mile in the color correction and actually talking to the fan preservationists and fan historians who have championed trying to get Leone's work properly respected on home video for many, many years. And also, Kino has utilized the Laserdisc mono track from the 1990 Laserdisc release, which is the best sounding version of the original English language mono. I go into this in much greater detail, plus a video history overview of the film and talking about the different versions in my review of this disc. So if you're curious to know more of that, definitely check that out because I go into as much detail as I can cram into a video in that release. But just to give you an idea, again, this is the international release version, perfectly represented, which is a first for home video, because even the Laserdisc was missing a shot or two. And it features the LD mono. It is the best version of the film we've ever had on home video. It is a must-own purchase. It is essential for any film library. It is worth your hard-earned money. Do not hesitate. It is worth it. And even if you're a fan of a longer version of the film, I don't think anybody can deny the narrative focus that is increased by the international release edit, and Leone himself admitted this even in the process of making it, because of course he supervised and actually cut down the film himself for United Artists. So this is a really surprise release and a really welcome one. I never thought we would have an official release that was this perfected, this fixed, and it rights a lot of wrongs of various releases that have come before. This is the first time I've ever been able to, look at a disc off the shelf and point to people and say, you can buy this, and this is correct in picture and sound. This is good. I can actually recommend this to people, so I recommend it to you as well. But this was why I picked up these Kino discs, and I'm just so happy that a lot of the wrongs of the 2017 release and the original 2014 MGM Blu-ray have been finally corrected here. So that's it for this particular video. Again, I was pretty much just going after GBU and tacked on other Kino releases, as is really the smart thing to do. That way you can chip away at their vast library, because otherwise we'd all still be trying to get as many Kino discs as we could and be, way far behind. So please definitely comment below with any Kino purchases that you've made from their out-of-print sale, or if you're going to get the GBU release, or if you've gotten it already, any thoughts you may have. And please do take a look at my admittedly much longer disc review of the new 4K release of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, because again, I tried to go into every last little bit of detail I could think of to try and make a comprehensive, informative video for newcomers and old timers to the film alike. So, with that, thank you so very much for watching. Definitely go and check out the updated Kino Lorber going out of print sale on their website at kinolorber.com. As always, keep physical media alive.